What it do, family? It's your guy, man, Amon Rose, aka Edwin Rose, aka the Conscious Cowboy. Hey, I don't know if this is a rabbit hole video, just something that I've been studying. I've been reading about the Norse culture. Pretty interesting, man. If you guys don't know what that is the gods of the old days, of the Vikings, Odin, you know, and just that type of culture and faith. Um, but I just had a question, because I went to see my mom's yesterday, and I always say that I want you guys to be able to think, question yourself, question what you're reading, question what you're studying, and just be conscious of what you're doing. And in my studies on the last 2 weeks, I have gathered some questions for you guys to ask yourself or your preacher or whoever else. First thing first, the Norse culture is older than Christianity. Okay, you guys get it? Even though, listen to me, even though it is categorized right now as mythology, which is I'm okay with that. I have no qualms with it being categorized as mythology. These are fictional creatures. But let's talk about it. Let's I guess you can call it a rabbit hole video. Let's go a little bit deeper. The Norse um, society, right, is based on warriors. This is a warrior society. This is a society where you fight, or you don't, you know, you're not part of the society. You're either a fighter, or you're either just what they would consider a regular person. And everything in this culture is based off of you being a warrior and you having that warrior mentality. Remember that, right? Because this is a key part of how things have been twisted. So once again, this is the second part. This is part one, is that this is older than Christianity. Part two is that remember that these people had a warrior's mentality. We're going to come back to that. So, man, one of the words that I want you guys to remember is Valhalla. Valhalla. Okay? What is Valhalla? And I asked my mom's this, and, of course she didn't know. And I just told her, I said, why don't you study it? Why don't you look it up? Valhalla. Now, mind you, once again, this is a warriors community. These people, everything is based off of battle. So Valhalla is basically heaven. But the only way you get to Valhalla is to die in battle. Okay? Now, I want you guys to realize this. There's no hell. There's the underworld. There's Valhalla. That's the spiritual world that you go to. Then there's the underworld. They called it the underworld. Okay? Now, if you take some time and go read about this underworld, if you died a regular person, like, I'm a fisherman, I lived till I was 80 years old and I died in my bed with my children, my wife. I lived a good life. I go to the underworld. This is what they believed in. This is this warrior society. Like, if you're a regular person, if you're a regular dude, a person, child, woman, it didn't matter, and you did not die in battle, you did not get the glory of Valhalla. You got the underworld. Now, going to get into a lot of Greek mythology right quick, because if you guys study this, you'll see where they took a lot, once again, they took a lot of characters and created what you would call hell, and created what you would call the character, the devil or Satan, okay? and just that whole mold of that characters or those characters. First thing first, got a little hair. The person that runs the underworld during that time, her name is Hel, Loki's daughter. Yeah, Thor's brother. Loki. He's the trickster. Loki is a trickster, the liar, the deceiver. Sounds familiar, but his daughter name is Hel, or Hel, or just Hel. She runs the underworld. Now you can see where they twisted it and they changed the name. And see, I always thought that, even though I know these characters are copies of African cultures and stuff, but they perfected this, I'm just going to be honest with y'all, man. They perfected this time and time and time again. When they wanted to go into a different system, they twisted it. Yeah. And Loki's son is, I don't know if I'm saying his name right, Finra, and he's a giant wolf. But if you read about this, if you dig deep into this, and his name is spelled Fenrir. If you read about this, he is like also a controller of the underworld. He's the guardian of the souls to be taken. But there's no Hel. That's the underworld. The woman's name is Hel. But you see the issue with her name being Hel and moving into Christianity, right? Why would they leave? Why would they say the underworld now is named Hel? Why would they do that? Instead of it, because she's the goddess. She is the ruler of the underworld. She is not a fiery lake situation. She runs the underworld. And once again, she's the daughter of Loki. And Loki, if you read about him, if you really jump into this, study Loki, man. So, like I said, they took all these characters and balled it into what you will read about and what you will see about Hel. Because Loki is the trickster. Loki is, if you, like I said, if you start studying him, you'll see that he has issues with being the god of lies, deception, and all this other stuff. He does battle with that, because he even said that, he gives mankind an excuse to do the bad things. But it's all under control of Odin. I mean, how much more can you sit back and not question the God of your Bible? Because remember, Satan never did anything outside of following God's orders throughout the Bible. He never did anything on his own. He did all that stuff to Saul according to God's word. So even though you want to call him a trickster, a liar, a deceiver, he works for God. You can see, I can see it. I don't know if you guys can see it. Like I said, I just had to do the video, man, to tap into it. Hel was not the place for the dead. That was her name. Her name was Hel, or Ohel, or even, I don't know if they pronounced the O back in them days, but it was Ohel, or just Hel, one L, not two. And like I said, man, you guys gotta start studying, man. You gotta start reaching out, because it's even now, like I said, now you got a society where they have taken the warrior. You don't need warriors anymore. You need slaves. You need people to follow suit. So instead of having that warrior mentality, you have that mentality of reaching heaven by being good, or reaching heaven by being a servant of the Lord. You see how they switched it? So first it was You reach Valhalla by battle. Now is you reach heaven by being a good servant, being a good sheep, by following the instructions that these people have laid for you. And first thing first, family, if you cannot see the changes of the book, of the world, you'll continuously be led to nothingness or to what you call your hell. So I don't understand how people can still follow this shit if you know that it's a lie based on a lie. There was no hell back then. They didn't call it hell. And then if you study other cultures, the afterlife is just that, the afterlife. I don't know too many motherfuckers that then died and came back and can give us a good depiction of what the afterlife is. You know, I know that there are entities around us every day. So these people aren't in hell. These people aren't in heaven. So what the next journey is, who gives a fuck? I just can't sit here and say that I'm going to go to hell when I just found out that hell wasn't even a place. Hell was the lady's name. It wasn't even the name of the location. So you got to ask yourself, when did they change this? They changed it when the society changed. They changed it when they didn't need warriors anymore. They wanted to build a society where people built things for them, and you got up and they built a slave system. That's what it transferred it to. They built a slave system. You still have certain people worshiping Odin. Odin is the OG god. Odin is God. God is Odin. I did another video a few years ago where I was like, these gods are nothing but tricksters. All of them. Your God of the Bible is a trickster. Satan is a trickster. Loki is a trickster. You got other like hell. If you read about her, she's just a goddess of death. That's it. She ain't no trickster. You got certain gods and certain characters that do what they're supposed to be doing or what they're told to do. But then you got the main characters that all of them are tricksters. All of them. How many times have I had to show you guys who Jesus was or who Satan was in the Bible? And then you can connect dot to Satan being Jesus, Jesus being Satan. When you read these other books that were removed out of it, you'll realize that Jesus was the one in the Garden of Eden. If you read, what was the book? The book of Adam. I think the book of John, the Gospel of John. If you read those books, it doesn't say Satan. I try to share that information with you guys. Now, this is something else where you can look at it and say, the Norse gods was older than Christianity. This older than them, been around for years. These people worship these people for years before Christianity. But now you can actually, I never studied it. I never got into Greek mythology. I remember, I think I've shared this with you guys before. I remember I was still in Louisiana and I got into class, Greek mythology. And I think I took the class for 2 weeks and was like, yeah, this ain't for me. I don't want to know more about these motherfuckers right here. I think I stayed in the class for maybe a week or two and I was out the class. But now, maybe I should have stayed in it and could connect the dots sooner, because you can see it, man. You can see it. You can actually, when you read this, and I'm not talking about their journeys and stuff like that. I'm talking about once you strip it down. Who are these people? Who is Loki? Well, how does Loki feel about all of this bullshit? Like, not listen, man. Not the movies. Get out of that shit. Get out of that shit. Go read a book. Go read some of these Norse paperwork and documentation before the movie. This has nothing to do with the movie. You know, you just got the names of the characters. That's it. Look at what they was doing, because even Thor wasn't like a superhero or shit like that. No, that's some bullshit that they wanted to get you to sell tickets now. So read about that. Read about that culture. Check it out, man. I just want you guys to understand it is a different culture. So now they have a culture where they want slaves. They want happy, content slaves. And just think about it. Look at the change. Hey, in order for you to go to heaven, you have to be a good servant. Okay, in that mindset, we don't have warriors anymore. We don't have people waking up willing to die for a cause. We got people waking up willing to say, "Oh, I got to go to work. Oh, I got to get on the grind. Oh, I got to be a good person. I got to do this." And at one time, you had people in chains that woke up and said that this was God's will. Y'all have to remember that. And that's why I tell y'all all the time, you have to break this slave mentality. First thing first, man, you got to break this slave mentality. You got to get out of this system. Look around you. Look what you've been taught. Look what people have said behind closed doors about certain people. Look at that and break that mentality. That's why I want to do these videos, because you guys got to understand and overstand the system that we're in. Now we're in a slave system where you have to be a good servant. You have to be a sheep. But this is based off of slavery. This is based off of, and it has matured, right? So we don't have chains and whips on us right now. You see it. You guys can see it. We don't have chains and whips on us no more. But they have dangled money in our faces so much that we don't even realize that we're chasing a bag in a system where the bag is not going to be given to us. It's going to be given to some of us, but it's not going to give it to us. I can't go to the ones that got the bag and ask for, hey, a business loan. I can't go to the ones that got a bag and say, hey, man, you know, I've been talking about this for years, man. I want to go buy some land. And from that land, I want to build a fort. From that fort, I want to get back into, the warrior culture. We have to understand the culture, what we need to do to break free of certain people, what we need to do to break free of these chains and bondages. And it's not, right now, it's not physical, it's mental. You got people that look like me that act worse than the KKK. You got people that look like me that act worse than your enemy. You got people that look like me that act worse than the police. You got people that look like me that act worse than a rapist. You got people that look like me that act worse than the biggest bigot on the planet towards us. Some people we're going to have to leave behind. For others, it's not too late to take the veils off your eyes and to realize that this system is not a good system. This system is a copycat of another system, because at this time they wanted to produce warriors, and in this system they want to produce slaves. They want to produce happy, comfortable slaves. Okay, and then now you can see the difference. But also you can see the lies that they told you. There was no place called hell. There's no place called hell. That's her name. That's Loki's daughter's name. Don't believe me? Look it up. And once again, to all you Christians out there, man, wake up. And if you want to prove me wrong, prove me wrong. Do your research. Say, hey, Edwin, you're wrong, man. In the Norse community, there was a place called hell. Show it to me. Show it to us. It was called the underworld. Hell was his daughter. And if you read about the characters of these characters, right? You read about the character of these characters, you will see how they combined all of that and gave you the devil, Satan, aka Lucifer. Okay? All right, man. I think I went long enough on this. You guys have a great weekend. Hotep.